All right, coming to you from Rehab United here in San Diego. We wanted to take you through a mobility program. I'm going to show you this program kneeling using a pad or a pillow or whatever. And then I'm going to also show you the standing version, doorway chair version of this. That will be sped up a little bit, but it'll be the same concept, same reaches, same focus. We're going to get right to it. We're going to start with one of the most important stretches you can do in athletics, and this mobility program is good for any sport. Focused here on hip flexor mobility. So first thing we do is get into a kneeling runner stretch, basically 90-90. You can see it from this position. And I can have my toe flat or toe up, doesn't matter. And what we're going to do is we're going to get in that position and focus on rotating the pelvis back. You should start to feel a stretch in the front of that back leg here. And then I have this dowel. You can use anything, broomstick, golf club, whatever. It's going to help me to start, just maintain balance if I lack that, and or I'm going to use it as a driver into the motion. So often we are asked, do we hold the stretch or do we bounce and oscillate? Rule of thumb is both. We haven't seen a ton of research that says going longer than 30 seconds creates more value than not. So we're going to go ahead and stay somewhere in that 15-30 second hold, and then we're going to go ahead and drive or oscillate. We're going to really focus on getting the hip to drop, arms to reach overhead, and this is the sagittal plane. Then we're going to go ahead and go into a frontal plane position. That's a side-to-side mobility while we're in the stretch. And then we're going to move to rotary, or what we call the transverse plane or rotation. Focus on keeping that foot flat, letting that knee drive forward, keeping it in, not out is a good strategy. And then we're going to go ahead and again go about 5 to 10 reps, and certainly could do more, that's fine as well. The exact same exercise can be done more to the inside of the musculature, which is called the adductor complex. And all we're going to do is widen that up and rotate so our foot is 90 degrees relative to our front leg, and we're doing the exact same thing. You'll see this starts to tighten up a little bit more. We tend to have a little bit more lack of mobility there. Same rule of thumb, overhead, rotation, and side to side, okay? You'll find, you can see there I get a little stuck, so you would spend a little more time in that position. Also, when we get into this hip flexor position, we know that the quadricep, this front muscle, attaches above the hip and also goes down below the knee. So you can take a box, a couch cushion, you could be next to the wall and put your foot up, but now we're going to really focus on the quad here, not as much the hip. Same rule, overhead, rotate, rotate, and side to side. And you're really going to feel that pulling right through here. That's going to free up that lateral quad as well, that IT band structure. Okay? Take all ranges, and again we're going to do 5, 10, 15 of each position. We're now going to move to the hamstring, back of the leg. What we want to do is go in that same kneeling position, use the dowel for balance. We're going to keep that back relatively straight, and we want the toe angled up high. We're going to do this in 2 positions. Straight leg, which is going to stretch more distally, and a flex knee, which is going to move that stretch up more proximal, okay? So again, when we move forward, often we see this kind of slouch position, not what we want. We want the pelvis aligned, belly button in line with that toe, coming forward with a straight back. Holding again, 15, 20, 30 seconds, and then we're going to oscillate. Same rule of thumb, rotate left and rotate right. Rotate left and rotate right. In that position, we can do a little windshield wiper, both down distally, or we can get a little hip side to side, and you'll feel that really getting at that hamstring and mobilizing you pretty darn well. Okay, we're going to move on to hip glute region. We're going to basically be in a 4-point position. We're going to slide one leg all the way back, and then we're going to slide our foot out in front. We don't want that foot tucked real tight. We want to get it out in front and then slide ourselves over the top so we're relatively straight. If you're tight, you're going to be stuck up here. If we get some more motion, we can drop into our elbows, even lower if you want. Now that we're in that position, we're going to hold, same rule of thumb, and then we're going to oscillate. So we can go right side, left side, we can move our hip side to side, and we can rotate. All of those are really good stretches. Nothing like a plane going by. One of the things we can also do is move the pad up onto a chair or a box, and now we can get into that exact same position, getting the same stretch. You can even bring that all the way up on top of a table, and that's a good way to get at that glute. We're gonna do a little crossover here, and that's hard to do when kneeling, so we're gonna do it in a standing position. To get the outside of the hip, you're gonna cross over this leg. In this case, left foot's planted. We're gonna cross the right foot over, pushing the hip out and leaning to the right. So I'm gonna feel that all on the outside. Great hip stretch for that lateral complex. Same rule of thumb, I can reach, I can get different angles. So I can go over the top, I can go out in front, I can go behind, okay? Those are really good strategies, as well as having the hip out in this position and then moving my hip forward and back. And you'll feel that almost what we call a flossing or a gliding of that tissue. And if you're not feeling it right here, adjust your position. We're now going to move to calf position. This one's, again, down 4-point position here. And then we're going to prop up, get onto one leg, and then we're going to walk up until we feel that stretch. Then I want you to work on your holds and then drive. So I'm going to drive my knee out in front. On the way back, I'm really pushing my heel down. And then I can give a side-to-side reach and or a rotational reach, either direction. So again, rule of thumb, 30 plus seconds of holding, and then 10, 15 oscillations back and forth. You can adjust according to what's more tight and what you need the most work on. So that gives you hip flexor all the way down to calf. Again, really good for any sport. This is gonna get you prepped and mobilized. I would be doing this both before and after my training. That way I'm maintaining and maximizing my flexibility and mobility. Thank you again from Rehab United.